last time we talked about being a holistic pharmacist, we talked about how you got started in it, what that means. But I want to get to really the core piece, which is often the experience that led you to some epiphanies, some realizations. And for you, that was dealing with a health challenge in autoimmunity. Can you discuss that? When did you start to realize that you were suffering from a health challenge?
Looking back, knowing what I know now, I can see little hints of what was to come starting probably in my early 20s. It wasn't until my mid 20s, really, when things kind of fell off, the wheels started flying off. So during my last year of pharmacy school is when I started having just a ton of symptoms that I couldn't explain. I went to my doctor and he told me I was just stressed and started me on a ton of medications, which I gladly took because I was getting ready to be a pharmacist, and that's just what we did. But then those medications weren't making me better. So eventually, I know my labs were all normal. So I'm thinking, well, maybe I am. Maybe this is all in my head, which is kind of the plight of a lot of autoimmune patients, right? They're told that they're distressed, that it's all in their head, that they're overly concerned with their health, and that there's nothing really wrong. So finally, eventually, I see a picture of myself, and I noticed an enlargement in my thyroid. And so I get connected to a physician who finally runs a comprehensive thyroid panel. So, all your antibodies, everything. And I find out I have Hashimoto's, and that I truly wasn't going crazy. And I wasn't getting older. Someone actually told me that I was just part of getting older.
This is part of it?
Just part of getting older. And I think I was 28.
Wow.
So that's when really just kind of my eyes were open to, I can't take a pill to fix this Hashimoto's, right? Like even thyroid hormone doesn't fix Hashimoto's because it's an autoimmune condition. It's not going to fix the immune response. And I realized I needed to start digging in and figuring things out from the root cause. And that led me down this whole path of nutrition and supplements and stress relief, and just really changed kind of my whole trajectory.
Yeah. I mean, it's the kind of classic tale, I think, of patients. You go down two roads, really. The one road is you just go to a doctor. They tell you something like it's in your head, or here, take this pill, and you stay that way, and you continue and struggle and continue to struggle and just keep taking more and more pills till, like you said on the last episode, 38 deep, right? Prescription pills.
Yeah, 38 deep.
Yeah. Or you start to be your own investigator. You start to be your own advocate, and you start to study things. Now, you said it was a long journey. Can you go through that a little bit? Like, where did it start? Did it start with nutrition? Did it start with understanding medication a little bit better through your pharmaceutical experience? What was the kind of starting point of, the journey?
The starting point of my journey was actually an elimination diet. So I had read enough and learned enough to realize, maybe what I'm eating is contributing to this. It's not going to hurt anything for me to cut some foods out. And let me just say, I was not eating a standard American diet at this point. I was eating what I thought was a healthy diet. Okay.
Yep.
But so I cut out gluten and dairy and soy and alcohol, sugar, I think all grains, legumes. My thyroid antibodies, which were never super elevated, I don't remember the exact number, but let's say less than 100. My antibodies decreased by 50% in a month after cutting out those foods, to the point that if I have labs drawn today, I wouldn't technically have Hashimoto's.
So you're a big advocate then, because that was of food as medicine, right?
If someone had told me that was possible, I would have called them probably a liar at that point in my career. I mean, I would have, because I've been like, there's no way that you did this without medication.
And that was...
But I didn't, but I did.
That was a huge change for you, I guess, and a huge improvement. Were there other things as well? Were you looking at supplementation, mindset, other lifestyle changes?
Yes. So supplementation kind of followed after that, realizing that. So at that point in time, I was still taking birth control, I believe, at that point. And so I realized there's this whole really well-studied issue with drug-induced nutrient depletions. Like there's tons of evidence around this. So let me start there. Let me start taking some methylated B vitamins. Let me start taking some magnesium, see how this goes. I'm like, okay, well, this is going better. And that kind of opened the door. I think once you see food and once you see supplements, then the next natural step for me was mindset. But that came a little bit later, realizing that, oh, okay, what I think here affects the rest of my body.